Hey guys, my name is Orthodox. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at an elemental tier list. We're going to start with water since that's the hot topic with the twins releasing earlier this week. With me I have a special guest, Lerart.
Hey, what's up? I'm Larart. I play TL. Yeah.
Yes, we do. We both do.
I've been playing this game for a long time now.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
then we're going to go ahead and before we get started on the tier list, we're just going to go ahead and kind of detail the requirements, what the rankings mean, and how we're going about judging the characters. So, if you want to talk about the overarching focus.
Oh yeah, sure. I think it's better for you to say that, but
Oh,
yeah.
sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I totally can pull it. So, we were looking at the generic start, right, would be their effectiveness in the pub meta, right? As
Yeah.
most of the gameplay overall is going to be done in public rooms. The majority of our community has the luxury of pre-made, so in most cases it's either quick matches, to and from, whenever you have free time, or just in general playing in the public meta. That being said, the viability of the character in the public meta and in the co-op rooms, we broke down into 3 different categories. From most important to least important, it's going to be, of course, how they play and how easy they are to play, so their impact on the team. From there, the next thing to consider now is their backline potential, so how strong are their co-abilities and their chain co-abilities when offered to other units of play. And the final tiebreaker we'll look at is the shared skill for that character, how impactful it will be, whether or not it's worth investing in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, without further ado, we can just get started then chatting. I have Xainfried then as my first unit to talk about here.
Yeah.
So, he's interesting.
Yeah.
I definitely, I want to put him higher on the list from what I was thinking about. But I really don't see Xainfried going any higher than about A+.
I think Xander is like the second best water unit.
Xainfried or
Only
Xander?
losing. Xander, sorry. No, not Xander. Xainfried. Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry. I think he's the second best water unit,
Mhm.
only losing to Mitsuba. Because like Mitsuba has the best personal DPS, she has the best inspiration skill, and she's like, I know we're looking mostly pubs, but she's so good on the speed strat too. So I think like overall she's the best character in water. But I think Xainfried like is so good on all element clears with like he can buff. He's the best frostbite inflictor in my opinion.
That's definitely true. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So-
if we're looking like on element, only on the water element, I do think he's like this S
Mhm.
alongside Mitsuba.
Okay.
Mostly because like he's the best frostbite inflictor. So like on element clears, Mitsuba really wants either Xainfried or Fjorm. So I would put him maybe S, but I can see him in A+.
Yeah, I think if I were to do the A+, right, he'd be like right at the tip. I think what holds him back, in my opinion, is having an early spiral.
Yeah.
Which means that he's required to have a much higher investment than the rest of the water characters in order to be as valuable as they are, especially when Champions Testaments are probably the tightest they've ever been in our inventory. I do agree. I think the Frostbite setting on him is very, very potent. Also doing public runs with him and having a maxed out Gabe and Creed, the GNC, the Bunny Dragon, on him is extremely potent for, of course, getting those strength buffs off, getting your shifts, having more access to Dragon Claws, especially since Eugene now has Dragon Claws in the backline and Dragon Haste as well, kind of doubling as a pseudo backline like Summer Celliera. They're interchangeable for their backline. That is valuable. And then of course the buff zone from from the bunny dragon. Being able to abuse that buff zone and allow characters to generate SP more rapidly, right? The whole team skills is pretty strong, especially for consistency. So anyway, I guess you are kind of talking me into like maybe the bottom / mid of S.
Yeah.
The problem, I do see the one problem is the investment cost, but I could definitely see somewhere between A plus, and S, in that regard. Yeah.
I just like, I don't think the investment should be a factor when you're valuing how good a character is.
That's true. That's fair.
Because like, if we're looking at the viability, we're assuming the character is at its max potential. So
okay. That's true.
At 7 MC, with the bunny, Xainfried is really strong. He's a really good character. He has frostbite. He has some strong buffs. He has nice personal damage because of dragon claws. And he can build up dragons so fast and put up the buff zones with the bunny so fast that I do think he has a lot of value. So I would personally put him at S.
Okay, yeah. No, I could definitely see that. Yeah, that's a good point. I think that moving forward, I will refrain from the investment cost as an analysis. I guess technically speaking, at their best, at their peak, it's very possible for anyone, especially viewers, to have already invested in Xainfried at this point, right? So
yeah.
They could already have this unit, and now since Frostbite Infliction is such an integral part of the twins, in terms of turning off the aura in that fight, I can definitely see his high uptime, and the fact that he has Punisher on top of that, as well as SP generation for the whole team. That's some real good value in his kit. So
he has like really good team support, and with like frostbite and really good damage too. So
definitely,
I think he's really good. Like, even with like being an early spiral, I can't see a lot of spirals being better than him, to be honest.
That is true. And with the Dracolis, of course, buffing and the buff cap rising as well, this definitely causes him to age well and future-proof him pretty well too.
That's true.
So,
and the addition, like the buff limit being increased,
yes,
makes him also better because he can abuse more Dragon Claws.
Right, and there actually is quite a few chain co-abilities with Dragon Claws now. I mean, like I said earlier, you have Eugene, you have Summer Celliera. Now, I wouldn't recommend running both of them, but if you wanted to or had invested in one or the other, that's good value. In terms of backline characters, you also have access to, Urias or Pipple, which offers skill damage and Dragon Haste again, which is really good. And then Tiki, being standard attack damage and Dragon Haste as well. Or, of course, even just a Boko ability. I mean, Hunter Sarisse exists, right? So now he has access to energy, as well as additional skill haste on top of his skill recharge from the bunny, which we both agree is... That dragon alone is actually incredible. I think that dragon really does a lot for Xainfried. Probably has him pretty future-proof too, because the dragons can only get better from that point on, and since his kit is based around abusing dragons, who knows what the water gala will look like.
Yeah, I feel like the bunny, like Gabnet, if we get a gala water dragon, Gabnet will still be really strong, because at least from the two dragons the two gala dragons we've seen, they're kind of selfish. They don't provide a lot of team support like Popstar Siren or Gabnet does.
Right.
So running a Gabnet on support units like Xander or Gali, maybe like that will still be optimal, even with Gala Dragons. So
this is true. I mean, skill recharge, right, is such a unique aura, and it's very strong. And so the fact that he gets to abuse it, being the premier Dragon Claw stacker in this element.
The Gabnet skill, the buff zone, is really strong too. So
yeah.
I can see him being good for a long time.
Yeah. Well, that definitely bodes well for for any Xainfried fans that were worried about the spiral initially.
Yeah, because
So,
initially the spiral wasn't great. So,
right,
but
yeah,
like as time went on, he got better and better.
definitely. And then of course he also has quite a few good worm prints to choose from too, so that'll also work in his favor. Any other thoughts on his position? Anything that we have yet to cover? I guess his shared skill hasn't necessarily been mentioned.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, I think that's definitely not his highlight.
No.
But you know, having a frostbite setting skill and also making it a frostbite punishing skill, it is like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So overall, I mean, I wouldn't rush out and invest in that with my elemental tomes, but I could definitely see the value in using it if you didn't have frostbite available. I think the only other thing though is if you're just looking to set frostbite, Fjorm's is probably much stronger, at least from a shared skill perspective, right?
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
So
yeah.
I mean, because now you double when looking specifically at the twins. You know, Fjorm has the freeze and the frostbite, right? And so that actually turns off either aura, blue and red.
Yep.
So that has some good value there. But we'll talk about Fjorm a little bit when we get to her. Which I guess we could just segue right into her since we're already chatting about her.
Yeah, that's fine.
So for me, I would definitely say Fjorm's had a lot of ups and downs. I personally would probably put her. I mean, she obviously plays a different role, right? They're both lances, her and Xainfried. Yeah. They do play a different role, but I would say that her freedom and her ability to freeze on skill 1 with the damage that she brings and the survivability puts her between A+ and S. I really don't think I've decided where she'll land just yet. But
I put her on A+, maybe even A, because like, while if you only want frostbite, I think she's better than Xainfried. But overall, if you look at the character, like she needs to like get a low HP to bring her maximum potential.
This is true.
And because like usually overall on the twins, the fights are a little bit longer than Fjorm would like. I do think she kind of falls behind Xainfried, and she's still really good. Like I wasn't expecting her to be that good on the twins.
Right. Oh yeah, I was thinking maybe like B+ when the twins came out, right? Because she just was very subpar when Brunhilde was a character, or you know, the premier water content.
Yeah, but she does like the twins have a lot of AOE purple damage, so I do think she's a lot better than most people are expecting her to be. But I do think she falls behind Xainfried. Even though they like have different roles, they're both lances with the same collab. So I do think she falls a little bit behind, but she's still really solid, really good character.
Now the nice part about Fjorm and the redeeming qualities of her, right, is the frostbite equals user strength. That has some merit, and that of course is seen often in like Tiki's backline.
Yeah.
Since Tiki often is a very strong setter. Obviously then, because we have Xainfried in the meta, right, as a pick, you can't overlap HP, which makes her an ill fit for him in his backline.
Yeah.
Beyond that, the skill share, I think that's of course what would probably make me want to keep her in A+, just because investing her at least to, was it 56 nodes for skill share to get the max? 56? Yeah, see, and then once you have that, you know, frostbite and freeze goes a long way, especially with it being 120% on your freeze.
Yeah.
That allows quite a lot of characters, namely, you know, Hunter Sarisse, right, who doesn't have innate affliction, to be able to apply frostbite and freeze, essentially helping their DPS, because if you don't have frostbite, if you don't have burn, poison, you know, on the team, when I believe it's the blue aura comes up, your team's actually doing reduced damage if the boss is not afflicted. So of course, that's the frostbite one over all of them is the most important, right? In terms of it's the easiest to afflict. But you definitely would need one of them. And then of course, then the flip side is with red, when they go to use like the twin beams or some of the unavoidables, you can then cancel with freeze as well. So it kind of has that dual utility. That's pretty nice. Decent damaging skill. I think it's around 6 or 7k SP. So yeah.
It's, let me check. It's 7k. No, for shareable, it's 5k. It's really low.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 5.4k.
Nice. Okay, so it's even lower than I had anticipated, right? And yeah. And so for CC, it's pretty solid. 120% chance to freeze is pretty much the best they have, or the best they offer for hard CC on adventurers. I know like the stun skills, like for NLE and Ninja Bride Sweep, are 110 for sleep and stun. So it definitely has its value there. I think it's nice that the developers gave value in Ice Mirror for the purple unavoidables in the twins.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's enough, because when you typically run pub comps, if you run with like Gelly, for example, that actually decreases Fjorm's DPS, because you're not really ever going to get into last bravery with a Gelly. There's just no way. I mean, you'd really have to play like a clown to get there, right? Like you'd have to go out of your way to actually take damage. At which point you could get stunned, and that's probably one of the worst scenarios to be in. And then, right beyond that, you're also healing off of your S2.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that's a fair placement for her. She's definitely comfortable. She's a solid pick. If you have invested in her, she's a solid pick to run in the content. But I think that's it for her. I think I'm comfortable with that.
Me too.
You want to look at Hunter Sarisse now?
Sure.
Since we were talking about her a little bit. I think Hunter Sarisse falls in the same category as Fjorm. In terms of comfortable to clear the fight, but there are some flaws. So maybe actually I'm gonna say A.
Yeah.
I put her in A+ initially, thinking, personal bias, I really like playing her. But I'm gonna have to temper myself, pull back, and say realistically, Hunter Sarisse is like an A character. She definitely benefits from the 6-star weapons, right? Getting the natural crit.
The crit rate, yeah.
That's really good. And then, of course, ignoring the fact that her best dragons, right, are also crit dragons, which are kind of not necessarily the best on everyone. But of course, playing optimally, you're either running Nimis or you're running Dragon Yule Jean based on your setup. Not having Affliction is a pretty big mark against her. The other one that's pretty big is, well, her shared skill. I mean, it's pretty niche. There's a few characters that would appreciate Hunter Sarisse's shared skill.
I only remember Zubaje and
Berserker.
Hunter Berserker, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've seen a few people talking about running it on sword characters. Possibly like an Albert, right, in the future, or Leia if they ever get spirals.
Is it worth it though?
But the problem is yeah, as you're saying, right, your tomes are valuable, and it doesn't really have universal potential at the moment.
Not only that, but I feel like even for those sort of characters there are like, why just not run Renzel,
Right. Yeah, I mean, you have a free skill, and you can get this 4-star unit to 56 nodes, and then now you have a almost comparable SP cost. I think Ranzel's a little bit higher than 10,000 SP. Hunter Sarisse is about 9,000 SP, 992 or 93.
Like, it does so much damage, it poisons and it dispels. It's such a good skill.
Right, that is tough to beat.
Yeah, there are few skills that are like better than Renzo's, to be honest.
Right. Another few things to pull back on her playstyle for the twins especially. The twins having smaller character models, and then of course doubling up, right? So the thing is in a pre-made lobby, you can communicate with your group, and you have a better chance that the twins stay together. And when the twins stay together, you get the bonus damage. So for Hunter Sarisse, that works in her favor because she can get more than 8 hits per force strike. She can typically, I've seen like 13, 14, maybe 15 hits.
Yeah.
That's great because that means you're going to do more damage with her. The problem is in public rooms, especially the beginning, people like to run forward, and that often causes the twins to split.
Yeah.
And then people also don't like to stand in between the twins, maybe like a danger zone feeling, I'm not quite sure, but from my experience in pubs, this is of course anecdotally, so maybe you might feel different, but what I've seen is that people will keep the twins separated until they rejoin for that small red with the outer purple spinning attack.
Yeah.
That's a lot of DPS loss in the beginning for Hunter Sarisse, well, for all characters, but specifically Hunter Sarisse, because those character models are so small.
I feel like not only that, but when I was playing Hunter Sarisse at the beginning, I made my first like 3 clears with her. While like it's really easy to play with her, the problem I had was not only like not being able to afflict everyone, but I always felt like running in general, she can abuse she cannot abuse shared skills really well like the other characters can.
Right.
Because like she doesn't run skill damage. There's the thing that we discussed about Catherine's shared skill. Hunter Sarisse has the 20 hit equals energize, I think.
Right, yeah.
You get 1 stack of energy. And she always like also gets crit chance with 20 hit combo.
Well, Gala will, but this one will not.
Oh, okay.
Right, yeah, so I guess then spoilers for Fire when we go to talk about, Gala Sarisse in the future.
Yeah.
Right now with Hunter Sarisse just has the energy combo. She doesn't actually have Sylvan Strength in her kit. What replaces that passive here is her empowered Force Strike.
Yeah.
So that whole mechanic
of
bow expertise, that's what allows her then to run around while charging a Force Strike, which mechanically speaking probably makes her the easiest character to run in Twins. I would argue even easier to use than Tiki, because you still get to Dragon Tank when you need to if the fight gets a little too intense. And then of course moving while keeping your DPS up is value.
And maintaining a distance.
Absolutely, yeah. Being a ranged character and being able to watch the fight from afar or step out if you need to, it has a lot of value. Speaking on the co-ability, her backline potential is great. Having invested in her, all the characters that we've talked about so far, Fjorm and Xainfried, would both appreciate her, along with comboing into Catherine, which we'll talk about, the new Water Lance. Catherine's shared skill actually has a 43 hit combo, so that would of course then allow Sarisse in the backline, Hunter Sarisse, and a shared skill Catherine to give 2 stacks of energy to any character that decided to use that combination. And kind of jumping a little bit ahead, but talking about Mitsuba, Mitsuba having inspiration on the whole team, and then now having a way to access a multi-hit and being a dagger, which means she has a high auto attack and combo count, means that there is a good chance you could have multiple instances of, full inspiration and full energy stack, possibly for a break. I mean, you have characters that also now, Eugene has a decently high mod. It's not the biggest, but you also have Catherine as well, which is pretty high too. So, yeah, I'm excited to see the potential of energized plus inspired in water to see how far that goes.
I might test it out. I have Hunter Sarisse at 50 MC.
Yeah,
So.
I'm definitely looking at I know this is like a tangent. I know this is a bit of a tangent, but I'm definitely looking at 50 MCing and share skilling Catherine. So if we do, we definitely will have to record and share our findings.
Yeah.
Looking at that, is there any other thoughts you have about Hunter Sarisse that haven't been?
No, no. That's it. Like she's a solid unit, not amazing, but like better than average. So A is a good place for her.
Yeah, good damage, really raw damage, not dependent on anything. She's very much independent unit. Great mobility. It's just I can't place her any higher since she doesn't have innate affliction.
And she also cannot abuse shared skills as well as other characters.
Absolutely,
I think that's a big one.
Her DPS on shared skills is most likely an overall DPS loss, since she's so force strike centric.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go into a polarizing one. This is Tiki. So, Tiki pubs have seemingly gotten a bad rap in the Discord, at least from us chatting about Tiki, or at least finding players who are playing Tiki. See, I personally think Tiki is ahead of Fjorm.
No, yeah, me too. Like the thing is, she's not bad.
Right.
But every Tiki player is bad. I've never seen a Tiki player survive until the end. So.
Yeah. No, I agree. I've definitely run into my fair share of some Tiki fanatics, right? Where you get in your lobby and you see Tiki. The other interesting comment to mention about Tiki is, and this is very much actually I think been reported in the current errors that Dragalia Lost had put out. Her HP is bugged. And so that actually does hurt her placement, in my opinion. I know this is a temporary thing, but of course the tier list is ever evolving and always changing, so her place could change in our next assessment when the bugs get fixed. But that makes it extremely difficult in a public lobby for your host to know what Tiki's HP is at if she is in dragon form.
Yeah.
So the fix for it is just simply to come out of dragon form, but the problem with that is now you're going to lower your DPS when you're in baby form, because Tiki slapping around the Dragonstone does pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
It's more of a meme.
There's like a niche thing that I want to say about Tiki too.
Okay.
Like it doesn't make her bad. It's just like doesn't make her as good as she could be. So there's one problem, right? I feel like even if you stack the two twins at the start of the fight with the dashes, ideally you're always running a Mitsuba on your team, right?
Right.
Because she's so good. But like, here's the thing: Mitsuba, to achieve her max damage, she needs the twins to be frostbitten. And
I see, okay.
At least for me, I don't like to run Xainfried and Tiki on the same team. You can definitely do that, but I don't like to do it. So, if you're running Tiki with Mitsuba, the problem is at the start, the two first skills that Mitsuba use will not get the twins afflicted. So the getting to phase 2 is a little slower with Tiki.
I could see that, yeah.
Unless she's running Choco, but then phase 2 is lower.
Right. Because then you lose out with not having Prince of Dragon Yule with the crit.
It's just some seconds, but I do feel like it does make a difference.
Right.
It gets a little slower. For farming, it's kind of annoying for me. But I don't think that's a bad thing. It's just an annoying thing about Tiki, running with Tiki.
Right. The good news is
she also can dragon tank. That's a thing.
Oh, true. Yes. The reduction damage is very strong on Tiki's dragon body.
Yeah.
I believe actually I've seen myself tank through the butterfly bombs during the black hole phase. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
But when you are that big of a character model, sometimes your character slips. That actually plays kind of like in the negative for Tiki. I've seen instances where we've been playing with people in the Discord, and no names. But Tiki will casually roll or dash, if you will, right, across the boss and then eat the butterfly, and then now the boss can't be stunned. And that's just from having such a fat character model when they're in the dragon form.
Yeah, it's really easy. Like, she can tank attacks really well, but like really strong. Like even if she survives the butterfly, she still like eats a lot of damage and she'll be in danger. If she like somehow loses the dragon form and goes back to baby form,
right?
She's so fragile. So while tanking attacks is like having the ability of tanking attacks so well, it's nice. I do miss the dragon tanking, the true dragon tanking. When I play Tiki, that is a thing that can hurt the character, in my opinion. So
yeah. Now the thing that also benefits in her favor, right, is her unique co-ability. So currently to this day, right, we're recording this on June 30th, so I'll have that in the title. She's the only one with standard attack damage, and Dragon Haste 20. Well, Dragon Haste 20% chain co-ability is common, right? Urias has it. Pipple has the 18, the 4-star version.
Yeah.
That's pretty potent, though. I mean, that's really good. Standard attack damage has a lot of good value across elements at the moment. So you'll notice that most buffers will prefer to use that skill or co-ability, and then you'll also have Dragon Claw shifters or Dragon shifters that will also appreciate that standard damage because that will apply to their Dragon mods as well.
Yeah. I think like it's a good collab and it's unique. Like, it's better for buff bots, but it's not a big of a difference in DPS. But it's a lot better on characters like People and Durant. Maybe even Zubaje. No, Zubaje Force Strike doesn't count as standard attack. Never mind.
Unfortunately not.
But,
which is crazy because the attack rate buff also does not increase Force Strikes as well. So.
Oh yeah.
That's something to consider as well. It literally has to be stated Force Strike in order for that to be empowered in any way, at either charge or damage. So it's quite literally standard attack is their official name for when you just tap your screen and you do your combo, either in Dragon or in Adventure form.
It's a good call ability, but if you compare to Blade, or maybe even like 10 hits equals 13 strength, it's not that big of an increase, which is why I think like even though it's a good call ability, it's unique, and it maybe in the future it ends up being really strong.
Right.
At the current moment, it's good, but not that noticeable.
Right.
Compared to other abilities. So like,
yeah, depending
I would
on the unit.
still give her, So I would still give her like a point for that, but for the most part, it's not that big of a good thing.
It's definitely not like a you must invest in this character type deal, but the novelty of having that for buffers.
True.
Or if you're playing GNC, right? I mean, you could run Tiki on Gelly, get the extra 20% Dragon Haste. Try to get there a little bit more quickly, refill your skills if you're playing Gelly as like a pseudo healer. There's merit for the backline. Now, lastly, her shared skill does not exist. She does not have a shared skill. So that's kind of nice. As limited characters, shared skills, especially if they're impactful, can be pretty dangerous. But she does not have a shared skill. And then I think the other thing that we didn't mention that is worth mentioning is she was released right before shared skills in general.
Yeah.
And the fact that she is unable to use shared skills throughout most of the fight is detrimental. Now, I think it's a little bit more alleviated now that we have a weapon passive, or a weapon skill that's permanent, especially being crit. I think that was probably one of the better. Well, I mean, strength would have been great either way. Anything would have been great. Just a weapon buff for her. I really was banking on Water having attack rate buff. Maybe not as much attack rate as Shadow got. Maybe like 20% at max. 15 to 20 or something.
could have been 60 and they would still be not that great. So.
Right, right. I mean, looking in a vacuum, Mitsuba being so strong as we've been chatting about her, it essentially Galax is 2 Mitsuba in a vacuum. So that's pretty wild in terms of DPS. But yeah, I would have appreciated seeing attack rate. Now I know that Hunter Sarisse players and people playing Hunter Sarisse would have been upset, right? Because that doesn't really do anything for Hunter Sarisse, since you don't get additional Force Strike hastened charges from having an attack rate increase. But overall, the attack rate increase would have been a more positive, effect to the rest of the cast.
True.
So I think that about does it for Tiki. Overall thoughts on my end here is she's a strong unit to play, but she definitely gets a lot better with the 6-star weapon. So if you're running a High Dragon weapon, you are kind of gimping yourself in terms of damage. Yeah, I mean, she's just solid. She's just a good pick. She gets the job done. Probably not as as well as Xainfried, but
yeah,
she's decent.
She's solid. She has like the second best personal damage in water.
Right.
So like she's decent. She's a solid pick.
Yeah, I have nothing bad to say about her. I really enjoy playing her. So.
Yeah, she's fun to play.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, we could just look at the 2 new units then, get them out of the way.
Oh yeah, sure.
Those are definitely hot topics. We have Eugene is probably what we'll talk about first. I'm kind of mixed feeling on this guy. I really believe that he has potential to be S.
Yeah, me too.
And my reasoning behind this is when I saw his reveal, and I saw that his aura or the buff zone, right, was as big as Galliuden's buff zone. That right away screamed to me that he had the potential to be part of like auto compositions. Kind of branching away from not necessarily just public meta, but like that he would have more viability with like the computer's usage. It's really hard to mess up a character.
The elemental res on the buff zone too.
Yeah, it's really hard to mess up a character that can only use one skill at a time, right? And then has to use check after you get the skill shift.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing, I know we're talking a lot about Mitsuba, but I feel like she's so good on the element that how good the character combos with Mitsuba is an important topic. Like,
yes.
If the best character has good synergy with another character, that character gets a little better.
Definitely.
So not only that, but the buff zone also can give crit damage. That combined with inspiration.
Oh, this is true.
Makes
the guaranteed skill damage crit, yeah. And he does have on his ability 1 the ability to score a inspired stack when he crits every 10 seconds. Now it is every 10 seconds, meaning if he were to do a full charge and let's say he does crit all the time on the dot, it would take him 50 seconds through his kit alone to get inspired fully. But that's why Mitsuba exists, right? I mean, she's going to inspire you. Additionally speaking, back to Hunter Sarisse in the backline, you can have an energized and an inspired checkmate.
Yeah.
With the bonus crit from his buff zone, because when you think about it, you have to get the crit buff zone up. So 20% strength, 8% flame res, and then 20% crit mod. And that would give him his stack. Now he's in a position where he could be energized and inspired.
Yeah,
and then
here's the thing too. He can stack checkmate. He can have stack 2 checkmates, right?
Right, absolutely.
And like when you're almost at the point of breaking, from what I've watched and seen, when you're almost at the time of like breaking the twins, you're getting your second checkmate. So you feel like hold on to the checkmate, to your stacks of checkmate. You have so much breaking damage. You put the buff zone, you get inspired, you get the crit damage from Mitsuba and from the buff zone.
Yeah.
It's a 2,500.
Yeah, 2,500
damage mod, which is not amazing, but you have two of them. So like it's really strong. He has a lot of breaking damage, which at the current meta, having burst damage on break is so important. It's so good.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I do think Eugene is like, he's a sword too, so he can make breaking faster. He has
That's true.
nice
And he will be
support.
heavily focusing on autos and force strikes.
Yeah.
That
He's
probably makes
amazing.
that probably actually ends up making Tiki a top pick for his backline.
Maybe, yeah.
You know,
He-
increasing
he is-
right. Because
he's
he'll be
amazing.
autoing and force striking for most of his
Yeah.
damage contribution.
Like I don't think the DPS team makes justice to how good he is on both him and Catherine, but we're talking about Eugene now.
Yeah, right.
I do think he's an amazing character. Like for water standards, he's so good. Overall, he's still like a decent character overall. He has nice breaking damage. He has a nice buff zone with strength buffs, crit damage, and elemental res. Of course, like it's a rotation. You have to like need a full rotation for that to happen, but his SP cost is not high, so
Right. And SP gen on a sword is pretty good.
yeah.
It's not the best, but it's far from the worst. I mean, it's above average, I would say.
Yeah.
In the weapon pool. Additionally, as a side note too, this kind of builds in his merit. I mean, he is you know, a true support unit. But with the Bunny Dragon, I mean, he still has the ability to have 45% strength. So he's still going to be dishing out a decent amount of damage, and his shared skills can easily be healing skills, you know, to help the team avoid running a healer.
And the DPS team says he prefers Shiny Overlord and his Clever Brother. I would personally change Clever Brother for I don't know, maybe PC or Prince of Dragalia.
Primal Crisis seems
But-
like it would have good value.
Yeah.
Well, especially when if you're critting, you get inspired, right? So you know, stacking your crit chance would be good.
Yeah. If you have a Mitsuba on your team, I do prefer running Prince of Dragalia for the breaking damage.
Right. And then I don't know. I mean, like when it comes down to skill damage, it's pretty hard for swords to not run Shining Overlord. I mean, that's
Yeah, it's such a good skill.
skill damage
Worm
and
print.
strength built into it together. As a worm print is pretty potent, especially when it's 40%. And you are running, a strength, quote unquote, dragon. I mean, a bunny dragon is just so unique in the fact that they have that skill recharge. Yeah, I think that's really good. Additionally, what makes him even better is the fact that if you have him, you can use him on any dragon shifting backline. Right now, that would be Xainfried.
Yeah.
You know, having Dragon Claws in his backline, having Dragon Haste with being a sword unit, that's good value. Additionally, that also makes him, if he were to shift into the Bunny Dragon for SP gain, that also makes it valuable then, you know, for himself, because now he can build his own stacks of Dragon Claw. You know, and then, you know, like we already mentioned with Water already, Water has so much Dragon Haste. I mean, if you had Tiki in the back line, right, and you also had Hunter Sarisse, right, you have
Or
the bonus skill
Urias.
haste, and then or even Urias to round the line, or if you wanted, I know buff zones don't necessarily benefit from buff time. It doesn't work that way. So it kind of frees his slot in a way to be using other units than like a Tobias, right? Because otherwise you'd be locked into Tobias. Yeah, I mean you could have units like you know, Urias or Pitbull, right? Then, you know, for the skill damage and the Dragon Haste, and then you have Tiki for the standard attack, since you're going to be doing a lot of standards and unforced strikes. And then Hunter Sarisse to round it out for some skill haste. You know, from there, you know, things look good. Things look really good in his favor. I think that between him is what, 1535 with Tiki, and then 20 with, so 55% Dragon Haste would come his way. That's good stuff. That's really good stuff. And then I mean, ideally, I'm sure that they made the kit base so that you would be using a 6-star weapon for the crit.
Yes.
But realistically speaking, public rooms would probably just appreciate a support healer, so 2 healing skills. Since I don't think GNC heals, the Bunny Dragon does not heal.
Doesn't.
So it, you know, the downside of not having it be Halloween Maritimus is that you need probably 2 healing shared skills.
Yeah.
So you know, like Halloween.
He also doesn't have the like he has elemental res, but is not as potent as Gala Elisanne. So
Right. Well,
That's
he
also
in which is 8% is still okay. It's decent.
yeah, it's solid.
The other thing that you know makes him a little, I guess you could say, worse in the role of the healer is that he's stun res and not burn. That's kind of dangerous. I mean, it's not like the end of the world. I mean, a stun still has its value, but I definitely think that the burn res units have an easier time in the twins.
Oh, for sure.
But of course, you know, you're right, because I mean, obviously, then burn would lock you out of your shift, and you could be dangerously low, right, for an unavoidable. That can actually work in your favor, though, if you just if you decided to bite the bullet and invest in like a Thaniel healing skill, because you could get Thaniel's healing skill to remove burn. And then, do you know if Jiang Ziya's removes burn, or if they did the other one for hers?
I can check now. Let me check.
But of course, once again, that's investing your tomes. So for healing for this specific role or instance.
It's the skill 1 that removes burn from Jiang Ziya. So
is it also shared?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the either or, right, has value. Yeah. It's not an end all be all, right? But I definitely think I think he has a lot of potential. I think S tier is probably where he will be.
He's really good.
Yeah. And realistically speaking, you know, future proofed because of the percentage. So yeah. Closing thoughts. Strong character, has quite a few ways to build him / play him. Good backline for another S unit.
Good breaking damage.
Good, yeah, great breaking damage. Last thing is his shared skill. I'm not sure how I feel about the shared skill just yet. It has decent damage. It has a higher SP cost though.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like, it's okay. I mean, right now with tomes being so scarce, it's just okay. It's a damage skill.
Yeah.
It's a one hit too.
Yeah. I feel like it's better running Rainsel though. It's like similar damage with lower SP cost. I think it's lower.
Yeah, it seems like
Rainsel is 14k, right?
I think so.
Let me check.
I think Ranzel is like, yeah, a little. He's definitely over 10k.
10k.
Yeah, it's like 10.8 or something like that.
It's really low.
Yeah,
compared to
Ranzel is, which makes me excited for Elisanne, base Elisanne.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see that, you know, when that comes out, right? So anyway, then moving on to the next new unit, we have Catherine.
Yeah. She's good.
This unit's good. You know, I would probably place her at A though. I don't think I would go any higher. Maybe A+.
Maybe like the bottom of A+, yeah.
But like, I would say Sarisse is still better than Catherine. My reasoning behind this is Catherine doesn't have any afflictions.
She doesn't?
So she sits in that Sarisse tier, right, where she doesn't have the afflictions.
Yeah.
We were saying earlier, right, she has great break damage.
Yeah.
Things that work in Catherine's favor. She has a unique auto attack that has, I think it's like 1.7k SP average gen that she gets, which is really great, and it's strong, and inevitably she will probably pair best with the Bunny Dragon in terms of getting her stacks on her S1. A couple problems with her kit that I see is getting hit, the unavoidables in the second part of the fight.
Yeah, she
makes her lose her stacks.
Yeah, that's the main problem with her, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's kind of what I see. I mean, obviously, if you're running Hunter Sarisse in her backline, she has the same energized Inspire combo that Eugene would be able to pull off for the huge damage with S2. But you know, as far as it goes beyond that, you know, I don't know. I mean, you have 2 other lances in the category that have afflictions and multi-utility. I don't see. I see Catherine as a unit who clears the fight comfortably, and probably is easier to pilot because she has anti-knockback, right?
I feel like she's kind of on a place like Chrome, like
Right.
she's a solid unit, but she does damage and that's it. Like, the thing I was seeing about Catherine is that like when you break with Catherine, it's basically an instant win
For
because
real?
of her skill too. Yeah, it's I don't know if you've seen it, but it does a lot of damage, like more than half of it the Twins HP.
Wow. So like bogged, I'm assuming bogged, and then like
Yeah, bogged.
energized and crit S2, and then that's the game.
It wasn't even loud. She didn't even have energy or inspire. It was just, I think, if I remember correctly, it was like Siren's skill.
Okay.
So she got the 40%.
Oh, she was running Siren instead of Bunny.
Yeah, she preferably runs Bunny though. But yeah,
Just for
so it
stacking,
was
right?
Sirens. Yeah, it was Sirens and in Bog. That's it. Some buffs too from the team, but like, yeah, it was like so much damage she did. She does have to like run maybe a Grace on the team though for that because she can't get hit. So that does kill her a little bit, her viability a little bit, in my opinion. But it's kind of a Chrome situation where like you break and you kill instantly with Catherine, which is nice, I guess. But yeah, she's kind of a niche pick. She's solid, she's good, but yeah. I'd put her in A. She's really good. I think. Maybe, like that's pure speculation, but maybe on Master Twins, if like a healer is needed, then you just run Grace and she'll get a lot better.
Right.
But as of now, she's A. She's a good pick.
Any kind of life shield, and technically speaking, if and ever if Gala Elisanne gets a spiral, we could potentially see the shield turn into a life shield.
Yeah.
Which would, of course, then also positively impact Catherine in terms of stacking. I think, though, the other thing too that's important to note, Catherine's backline potential, right? It being the 10 hits equals strength 13%. Very phenomenal. Probably best chain co ability. Or one of the best chain co abilities that you can have. Essentially, a little, like as we were saying, a shadow buff to Hunter Sarisse.
Yeah.
Since she prefers that HP and that bulk much more than she would care about Dragon Haste, since the Nimis and Dragon Eugene don't necessarily have the strongest dragon forms. She's not necessarily looking to shift into them. So that HP bulk can go a long way, especially in pubs if there's a mistake, or as a ranged unit just having less defensive stats. And then finally her shared skill, being 43 hits for like about a little over 4k SP. I think it's like 4.4 KSP. Having 43 hits.
Damage.
Yeah, with decent damage as well. That combination, right, is really awesome. I really like that we have that availability in our kits, because that positively interacts with Hunter Sarisse's energy gain. So any unit using it has the ability then to essentially get to that energized state much faster. Synergizing with Mitsuba's inspiration.
Yeah.
So yeah, anything else about Catherine that you have to say?
No, not really. That's basically it. Like she's kind of like Chrome, just okay.
Yeah.
With amazing breaking damage, but that's like maybe the only thing she has. So.
Right. Yeah, I think if we were looking at this tier list in pre-mades, I could see herself go higher, but with a public list like this, public rooms, it kind of makes sense.
I do value pre-mades a little bit, but not as much as pubs.
Right.
So I would still put I would, even with pre-mades in consideration, I would still put her in A.
I could see that too.
Yeah. She's solid.
I mean, A is respectable. I think A is a respectable position to be in.
A character, like in A tier, you can still clear anything, no problem.
Absolutely,
Like
absolutely.
you can comfortably clear anything. It's just that there are better options. Like
Yeah.
I feel like A doesn't have necessarily like lacking kits. It's just that anyone above them has like more, like better than they should.
Right,
maybe.
right. I'm amused with how our list is turning out so far. It's just so symmetrically down.
Yeah, that's true.
That's pretty funny. Anyway, we can look at Lazry next if you'd like.
Lazry's amazing. She's A+.
I have no gripes with Lazry. I think that Lazry is somewhere between Tiki and Fjorm. I might even
honestly
say
think
that
better
she's
than
better
Fjorm.
than Tiki.
The Tiki, yeah.
Yeah, she has a lot going on in her kit, and quite frankly, I think what really benefits Lazry, right, is the crit from the weapons. That alone, I mean, Axe already has 4% bonus crit. The Worm Prints are all about crit on an Axe. I mean, you got Kung Fu and you got Worm Clan Duo now as like the definitive generic Axe combo. When it used to be Flowers in the Fray, but now we have Worm Clan. Worm Clan Duo is just really, really solid. You know, get the crit mod, get the extra skill damage. I mean, even just running Lazry and keeping her in low power mode and just going at it with crits is certainly viable. I mean, having a stance mechanic, right, the high power, low power, definitely gives her more mobility, or more viability, I should say, in her playstyle and her build.
She's more flexible than regular units.
Yeah, definitely. And I've seen, from my experiences, I actually don't have her as a character, so I can't be as objective on her kit, but what I can see is from my anecdotal experiences. Every time I've pubbed with a Lazry, I've always had a consistently quick clear. It's always sub 4, so I've never had a 5-minute clear with a Lazry, or 4 or something. It's always been like 3:30 or 2:45, something pretty quick. So that's definitely a contribution, you know, of Lazry's ability. Co-abilities on Lazry.
It's the same as Fjorm's.
It is. So it's Frostbite, user strength, and defense. So interesting. Definitely decent. I mean, there's a lot of Frostbite setters at this point. So if you're looking for extra tank, that's probably not the worst situation to be in, right?
Yeah.
Solid. And then, does she have a shared skill?
No.
I want to say no.
She doesn't.
Okay. Yeah. So I think overall, I mean, it's just her playstyle, really. It's that sets her apart.
Her S2 does so much damage on break too. She's a solid unit. Like, she has decent damage. She can inflict frostbite. She has, she has solid damage, and she can buff the team. She's really good, I think. If you combo her with a, my favorite on-element team is personally Mitsuba, Summer Celliera, Lazry or Valerio, and Galley.
That sounds pretty good, yeah.
And
that
even though like I
good.
feel like even though like Lazry can replace Valerio, I feel like she can replace Valerio because it's like she kind of does the same thing.
Right.
But Valerio does it better, so yeah.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. All right, well then that's pretty much it for Lazry. I think that covers everything for her. I guess the next on the list is Xander.
Xander is
Xander, you know, I'm gonna have to say B or B plus for me. I'm probably gonna lean towards B at the moment.
Yeah, me too. The only saving thing, like the only thing that saves him from being lower is his just chain co-op.
Absolutely. I mean, like in terms of playability, like he's definitely off meta in the pubs. People are not necessarily going to be excited to be playing with him. Couple things. I mean, Striker Strength is useless at the moment until he gets a Spiral. you know, when he gets a spiral and they give him a combo count, that counts as a buff, which will also then give him a benefit to his skill 1. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no affliction is tough. Kind of weird abilities at the moment that don't necessarily match with the twins. Is another negative. The big benefits, of course, like you'd mentioned, is the co-ability.
Yeah.
Dragon Haste and 10 hit equals 13 strength is phenomenal. It's a great backline. A lot of units, especially if you look on the DPS simulator, will say they want Xander.
Honestly, might be the best backline for water.
Yeah, probably. I mean, with what they have to offer, I mean, especially with how potent the Bunny Dragon skill is, giving everyone SP, that has some good value. The other thing is his shared skill. Depending on the character, it can be used on other elements, right? I definitely think that his skill has potential to be multi-utility, right, as the game expands.
Oh, for sure.
At this current moment, I don't see it as like meta-defining in any way. I just think it's good.
A lot of potential.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, especially for water has so many buff pods.
Oh,
water
absolutely.
and light have so many different buffs on the unit that his skill 1, when he gets a spiral, beats so good.
Right.
On those
the other thing too is that those unique chain co-abilities, a lot of them also count as individual buffs themselves. Or if you pair him with a character like Eugene, and Eugene uses the skill shift 3 on his skill 1, that's 3 buffs. You know, that's an extra 15%, you know, mods. That's very easy to pull off for a single character. Then, of course, you got Xainfried in the mix. You could have Elisanne in the mix doing, like, 5 strength buffs or something wild. You know, you have options. This man, the king, is in need of a spiral. There is no other explanation. He's in need of a spiral. I think he's off meta passable, but I just don't see people wanting to pub with Xander. At least not consistently.
He's like one of the worst characters that can be accepted in pubs sometimes.
Yeah, I'd say he's on the bottom end of that. Yeah, that's Xander. I mean, until he gets a spiral, we can readdress him and go from there. All right, we have Jiang Ziya next, the healer. You know, this is tough. I'm gonna have to say, as a healer, especially with how the public room is kind of moving away from healers, or wanting to move away from healers between the cheese strat and the 4 DPS strat, I'm torn between B+ and A.
I think it's B+.
But yeah, I was gonna say, I wanna drop her here at B+. She has good value in being a healer. It's easier with lower might on a character to get through the twins as a healer and as this unit, and being ranged, of course, and with the defense buffs and the burn cleansing, you can help fix a lot of things. The biggest issue with Jiang Ziya right now is if you play as a healer, you are gimping your team's ability to clear, and so you get into this conundrum where, and this is kind of for all healers, which is kind of tough, which is why I wouldn't rank them higher. The longer a fight goes on, the more chances your public room has to make mistakes, and the healer will always contribute to a longer room and never a shorter room.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my personal take on like healers in general.
Here's the thing, though. I think what makes her like being B+, is that's like she's definitely not as important as anyone in A or above. But I think the B+ is like, there are some pub rooms that will search for a healer. But there are never a pub room that is looking for Xander.
That's very true.
So I think B+ is like, some pub rooms are looking for those characters.
That's a great distinction, yeah.
B is like, you maybe can get away with one of those characters.
Yeah.
Like,
B
there's a chance. But it's not that high. But B+ is like, you can get away because some of the pub rooms are looking for you. It's like a good part of the rooms are looking for you, and A+ and above, it's like everyone is accepting them, or almost everyone.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. 100%. Yeah, I mean B is the true off meta. B plus is your 100. I mean B and up, right? I mean like B is probably your baseline for clearable. B for baseline. But you know what I mean, you know, yeah. I mean, people are currently searching for swords because you know they'll want Eugene, they'll want Summer Celliera. So you know you have potential to sneak in as a Xander, and they might be like, what? But they'll take you. I mean, in most cases, I would probably take a max outfitted Xander. The difference is I wouldn't take an under outfitted Xander.
Yeah.
You know, if he's Chimera,
then there has to be like
whatever.
max. Yeah.
Yeah, like if I saw like a 9.3, 9.4, 9.1 even, as long as he's at 9k at this point, I would probably take the Xander. That being said, moving back to Jiang Ziya, since we did close the book on Xander until Spiral, Jiang Ziya, yeah, B plus, real solid. Shared skill, pretty good. Burn cleanse, not bad. Core abilities, actually pretty solid. You know, you have the healing, and then you also have the healing when you fall below a certain HP, 60% I believe, and then healing for 30 seconds. That's just good regen in general. I think that's a good core ability to stick on like a Gala Ellie, for example, if you're running her, or a Eugene as a support healer. That has a lot of value because your skill 3, or ability 3, I'm sorry, ability 3 on Eugene is defense when he's at 70% or higher.
Yeah.
So that'll keep that going. You actually won't be able to reach it through that heal alone, but it's definitely a great way to keep him closer and get him to that point of keeping his passives turned on. Same thing with Ellie, really, is just keeping Ellie healthy in general, you know, because a healer that's alive can continue to heal.
But ideally,
And the
you're not
potency.
running her. The potency is nice.
The
Like,
potency is
ideally,
nice.
you're not running her on the back line, but if you're having a hard time, she can make it a lot easier. So
yeah. I would say that, you know, like the optimal backline won't necessarily include her for those healing supports. I don't think you would necessarily need the potency, but depending on where you're at in the game, it's not the worst. It would be nice to use.
Yeah.
Overall, the healing, of course, helps to cover up some mistakes that you might make.
She makes it easier.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what healers in general just make it easier, more consistent, if you will, but also at the same time elongating your run.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's Jiang Ziya. Done deal. Now, I'm going to skip Valerio for a second because
Mitsuba is the best.
I know you're dying to talk about Mitsuba, and
No,
I'm really
no,
holding you off.
We can talk about Valerio. You should.
So, no, it's okay. We're going in. S+.
Yeah.
S+.
Okay, so
Definitively
here's
S+.
the thing, right? She's definitely the best character in water.
Yes.
And like she's the best for like regular clears. She's the best. She's necessary for the speed clear, which is kind of popular on pubs.
Yeah, we've been seeing it pop up quite a lot.
Yeah, and you even see her sometimes off element because of the inspiration. She's far from like the other best characters on other elements, but in the water element, she's the best. She's the best. Like there's no one that can reach her. Like she has the best personal damage.
Right.
She has the best inspiration because she also buffs crit damage.
Her utility is wonderful.
Her S2, like on the Tempura stance, can give you not only 3 stacks of inspiration, but it also increases the crit damage. And on the Sashimi stance, which gives you 2 stacks of inspiration, gives you crit rate. So you first use the sashimi, the sashimi, and then tempura. So you, like, to get the max use out of her S2. But she's so good. Like, she can do so much for the team. She has so much damage. She has solid damage even without frostbite, and she can also inflict frostbite herself. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really good value.
She abuses her tempura stance, gives her a lot of SP. So charging shared skills is really fast too. That's a good thing about her. She's just a solid unit in general. She like is the most requested character right now. Water pubs.
Definitely. I mean, anytime I see a Mitsuba, I'm excited.
Yeah.
And then the one knock on Tiki is they share weapons, so it's that situation where you're always searching for a Mitsuba and you'll get the Tiki.
Yeah, that's the problem on speed clears too. Like I join a lot of speed clears pubs, which I'm fine with. I know the speed strat, so I usually accept running speed runs. But like they put water dagger and so many Tikis join and leave. So many. We like spend sometimes like 5 minutes looking for a Mitsuba.
Yeah.
So yeah, like there's also that fact that almost no one has Mitsuba
Right.
because no one summoned for her.
Yeah, it was tough.
But,
It was a really tough banner. At the time, it was a solo banner, and I believe there was a collab on the horizon.
Yeah, there was Fire Emblem coming up, I think.
Yeah, so it was all in all, it was very, very tough. Definitely a candidate for my dream summon.
She's really good. She's really good. Solid.
I see her as being and she'll age well with the fact that she can team inspire.
She got a lot better, in fact.
Yeah, inspiration is definitely much more potent than energized.
Because like not only crit naturally is stronger than energy because energy makes her skill 1.5 times stronger, right? But crit damage is 1.7 naturally.
Right.
And you can increase even more with like
the mods.
With the mods or abilities or even some skills. So inspiration is really strong. It's a lot better than energy.
Yeah. Essentially, having a Mitsuba on the team makes every single character we're seeing on the list beneath her just better.
If you see, like, I would sing to you on private, but if you see her damage on with 80k team damage, look at her, like how much buff she gives the team just with inspiration and maybe a little bit of crit damage.
Right, yeah, it starts to get wild.
So much.
But it keeps her at the top of the sim too. I mean, like that's the thing that's wild about it is it really keeps her up there, which is just phenomenal. Does she have a shared skill?
She does not.
She does not, and that's because of stances, right?
Yeah, I think no one with stances have shared skill.
Makes sense to me. Makes sense to me. I think the other thing too that we haven't mentioned just quite yet is also her utility outside of the damage portion. She has frostbite, and she has freeze.
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't have freeze.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm probably just thinking of Valerio. And in that regard. Yeah. She has frostbite and frostbite punisher. That's what it is. Okay. Yeah. I mean, either way you slice it. I mean, her damage is not selfish, which is probably the best part of her kit, aging wise.
And even like her personal damage, if you compare it like to the rest of the cast of like every element, is not actually that bad. It's not amazing too, but like it's not terrible. And for water standards, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's a really solid unit.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to try to dream summon her. Her co-abilities.
Oh yeah,
it's crit
damage, crit. And I think it's something like irrelevant. It's not a good
like an elemental res.
I think it is. I don't remember. It's just so. Let me check. I would just confirm.
Side games is like we can't have that great of a water unit. We already did way too much.
Yeah. But yeah, it's HP below 40, flame res.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
not pretty much one of the most yikes.
Yeah.
But you know, could save you in a cinch, I guess. Very, very, very niche and definitely not the highlight of her kit as we've been.
She also has Flurry Strength, which as an ability, which is amazing.
Which would double stack on the twin folds. That's real good stuff. That's real good stuff.
Yeah. It's 20% strength.
Wow. Yeah, that's
for
good.
15 hits. It's really strong.
Yeah, and then imagine stacking Catherine's skill on with energy.
Yeah.
And now you've always got Flurry activated through that.
Yup.
So,
and combo time.
And she has unique autos through her stances, which is another thing too. So that gives her.
Tempura stance has a lot of range. It's a really big area. Like it's almost as big as Lance's.
Oh range. Wow! For a dagger, that's wild.
Yeah, and like the thing is, the first hit, you do a dash, right? But if you space correctly, you don't dash, and you just keep attacking. So it's she's really good. She's just really good. A lot of damage, a lot of inspiration. The best inspiration in the game as of now. Better than Valerio's because of the crit damage she gets on Tipura stance. So yeah, it's a team-wide crit damage. Like the thing is crazy about her inspiration is like her on Sashimi stance she gives 2 stacks of inspiration and crit rate for the entire team.
Yeah.
And the tempura is crit damage, which makes inspiration a lot stronger. And 3 stacks of inspiration. So yeah, Mitsuba is just amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely envious at this point. I love seeing her in pubs. I can't lie. So I'm happy with S+ placement.
Sorry, I got a little excited here. So I just
totally okay. You know, sometimes you have a second opinion, right? You come in, and then that's how we do it as the duo. It's the combo.
Yeah.
So now looking at the other chef, Valerio.
He's amazing.
This guy also very amazing. I'm probably gonna say S.
S?
But
the bottom of S. If he's at S, the bottom, yeah.
I think okay.
Like the thing,
know what? I think
you go on.
I'm okay. I'm gonna sit him at the top of A+ right now. I got a little excited on him, and the reason actually I have to explain my bias real quick is as a player I really strongly appreciate hard CC skills. So those crowd control skills that adventurers offer, they make me very happy when I see them, especially with the viability and the utility that it brings, specifically in the twins. So Valerio has stun and freeze, if I'm not mistaken, in his kit. You can confirm with me on that one. It's he has 3 stances, right? So like he has Frostbite, Stun, Freeze, if I'm not mistaken, are the 3 afflictions that he gets.
Frostbite, Stun, and Freeze, yeah. He has Stun, Freeze, and Frostbite.
Yeah, so the thing with me is, like, he checks all the boxes on dealing with the passives, right? The blue and the red auras that the twins will have. He's very much more of the utility style character, and then when played optimally, right, like you as the player have so many choices to really help your team's success.
Yeah.
Now his damage is lower.
It's good.
It's good. Yeah, it's definitely good, but it's definitely lower and has the potential to be lower if you're not playing him optimally.
Here's a thing though, which might, like, it's the only reason that makes me consider him being at the bottom of the S tier, is he can get inspiration faster if Mitsuba is on the team. Like if there's a Valerio and a Mitsuba on the team, the entire team gets inspiration the whole time. Every time they have inspiration, it's really good. Like it's a little niche, but it's good. Like he combos really well with Mitsuba. He can stun, he can frostbite, he can sleep, not sleep, freeze. He gets inspiration. He's not amazing, definitely not Mitsuba tier, but like because of the inspiration getting faster with the Mitsuba and the Valerio on the team, I might consider him bottom of S, but I think top of A+ is the best placement for him.
Yeah, I think it's a more like honest placement. I mean, obviously, like my excitement for the hard CC is me placing him higher. But that's kind of more what I value. In my guide for Volk, I talked about how having a shared skill with Dragalia Cleo was so great because that skill allows you to skip the gales, the 4-way gales, which was typically where pub rooms would be ending.
Yeah.
So that being said, I actually don't see her here on our tier unless we missed through the first time.
Who?
Dragalia Cleo.
Oh, it's there. It's along, like right below.
Oh, you know what?
Nursery.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Doo-doo. All right, yeah, they're there. And then I think the other one think I might have missed was Summer Julietta. So we can just go grab them.
Summer Julie. It's oh,
Oh, right here.
yeah.
Yes.
Along Hildegard.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, I was looking at the tier list. I was looking, and I was like, wait a minute, we're missing a few. And I was thinking about it. Anyway, not to cut you off, but yeah, on Valerio, right? Like, kind of just describing my interest, right? So, backing up, I had offered Freeze from Dragon and Cleo as a way for people to consistently clear pub rooms by essentially canceling and skipping that mechanic, which now we see as more of a popular style in the traditional water rooms. Like canceling the lasers, for example, you know, the spinning laser, canceling the unavoidable burn and stun rings, or of course just simply locking down the Agito form so that you can land those butterflies, the Kagome attack.
Yeah. Or like when they stack, get the freeze or stun to make them like get a lot more damage because they're together.
100%. I mean, there's really no way you can make your team's DPS any better than simply holding the boss like a punch.
I really like Valerio. I really like Valerio.
I think he's a great unit. Well,
yeah,
the
he's
other
a great
thing too is he also has great mobility with the blade
because
force
it's a blade.
strike.
Yeah.
I've seen in the Discord, shout out to Bara in the Discord, playing some extremely spicy mobility from the Valerio. Like, one time I cut him off with with the black hole, where I had the butterfly bomb in front of him, and he force struck through 2 of them and got to the other side. Like, it was within a split second. It looked incredible on my end. I was blown away. And I don't normally play blades as much as a disclaimer.
I love blades. They're my
when
favorite.
I see a good blade player, it really definitely makes me pretty excited.
It's my favorite weapon.
They look great. I mean, they're
so
very
cool.
flashy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else on him? I think his co-ability is, I mean, strength is great for a blade, but I think his
it's elemental res.
Elemental res, right? Which makes sense because they made such a strong kit. So if you're going to have such a strong adventure, they have to offset it with some kind of balance.
Yeah. There's one thing I would like to add. Sure. It's his combos. I don't know if you're aware of that, but they're really slow. Really slow.
Yeah, I know some. It's not all the stances, but some of them are very slow. Correct?
Yeah. The best one.
Yeah, highest damage, I'm assuming. But that
highest damage and SP gain.
What's interesting though, right, is if you really did want to do more combos at this point, you do have Catherine's shared skill.
Yeah.
Now, so that's pretty nice. I mean, you know, like, as going for flurry and things like that.
Yeah. Not like the attack itself, like it connects well, but the startup for the first hit is slow.
Oh yes, I think I was seeing it on Mercurial Gauntlet when people were showing him when he came out.
Considering how like mobile the twins are, it does get a little harder to play as Valerio.
I could see, especially during the purple dashes.
Yeah. It's not something that would make him worse, but like just Valerio players to be aware when they're playing twins.
Yeah, definitely fair enough.
But he's a good unit. He's amazing. I do like him a lot. It does have personal bias because I like Inspiration as a mechanic, and I like Valerio character a lot. So
yeah.
But he's amazing.
He's got a great character design too. So
yeah,
he's got the classic anime hero with the silver hair, right? So,
yep.
Yeah, I think that wraps him up. We have an unfortunate next pick in Lily.
F.
You know, honestly, I'm really inclined to put Lily at D.
Yeah, she's so bad.
The thing is like there are 3-star units that have better DPS than she does. Her
She's
cast
so
time on her skill is way too long.
Yeah.
Her co-ability being skill damage is amazing, but then they gave her a chain co-ability of Flame Res.
And they're like a lot better
yeah.
ones for that, for Blackline, like Urios and people.
And her shared skill is sad.
Bad.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean the thing is it's the lowest SP cost freeze, right? But then you have Fjorm, and you
Yeah.
also have Dragalia Cleo. So the thing is like, okay, so if Dragalia Cleo didn't exist as a shared skill, then you could make an argument for Lily's freeze shared skill because it has a lower cost,
Yeah.
right? It's like 4, I think. Because Fjorm is 6 for a freeze frostbite cost, which is high. That's a high skill cost.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, you have Dragalia Cleo, which is a ranged freeze like Lily with a lower cast time, AoE buffs, and it also has an extremely low cost. Actually, it's 3. So yeah, I mean, technically speaking, if you really wanted to go overkill on freeze, which I really wouldn't recommend doing, I have done in the past for memes, but you can run Fjorm and Dragalia Cleo together, and either one of those units are going to have better backline potential to kind of also benefit you. Yeah, Lily really needs a spiral way beyond Xander. I mean, even in D tier, like, I still think you could clear with her, but your teammates would really have to carry you through.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gotten to the point where if you look on the DPS simulator, Lily's damage is better when you're running Tiki, because her auto attacks are doing more damage consistently than their skill damage. That's when you know it's bad. Like, that's when you physically know it's bad. I don't know. You know, speaking of a spiral, just quickly on her, maybe just Frostbite Punisher. I mean, so many characters have Frostbite already. Her skill 1 definitely does not need to inflict Frostbite and Freeze, and with the skill cost of like 4, I don't think they would make it do that.
Yeah.
If anything, right, just bump the mods and then lower my cast time, and then maybe even like, what else is there to it? I mean, yeah.
Dispel? I don't know.
I don't know. Just fix her, man. Just fix
Yeah,
her.
she's so bad. She's
Just
so
fix
bad.
her. She needs help. She needs
Like,
she needs an adult. That's what she needs.
I was checking like Leaf's rotations with his stances
Yeah.
have more damage mods than, like, the damage mods are higher than both of the Lily skill.
Oh my goodness. I mean, that's
It's
just
so
suffering
bad.
from release, right? I mean, that's just how
Yeah,
it
she's,
is.
but like she's the worst from release, I think.
Yeah.
She might be the worst 5-star
At the
alongside
moment,
like
right?
Leia.
I mean,
Yeah,
because
it's so bad.
and Hawk just skyrocketed past her.
Yeah,
I mean, the spiral really changed it. I think Lily is a character who has a candidate for a very interesting and very unique spiral that Cygames has a lot that they can do with. You know, you like making her skill 1 have a unique force strike. You know, having skill 2 do something other than area of effect damage. Maybe like it does area of effect damage, but then like at the same time there's some kind of buff to team. You know, like, who knows? There's a bunch of stuff that they could do. That being said, I'm gonna move on from Lily because it just makes me sad. There's really not much to do there. Dragalia Cleo,
she's bad.
is what I'm gonna go with. Now, I don't want to put her as low as Lily though.
No, because her shared skill is better.
So I think because I don't want to put her at B tier with Xander for clearable, I'm gonna go with C+. I think C+ is fair for her because her shared skill and her backline are both very, very potent, and they are essentially what makes Hunter Sarisse have the ability to be A tier.
Yeah.
Without it, you can't reach combo count, which means you can't run Primal Crisis, and that's a huge DPS loss on Sarisse. Especially now with the crit weapon, right? When you're really wanting to stack crit. Additionally, the shared skill has gotten me out of quite a few headaches in my Volk runs, as well as it has the potential to carry on and continue to be valuable. For a 3-cost skill, it's a pretty darn good deal. Everything else about Dragalia Cleo's kit is just really sad. Like, looking at the simulator, right? I mean, she has about the same amount of damage as Lily. It's just her utility is just much better.
Yeah, she has. It's a little higher because of the buffs.
Right.
On her S1, but like personal
for
damage,
team.
just barely higher than Lily.
Right.
Which is bad.
It just suffers from the fact that, or she suffers from the fact that it's team proximity buffing, not full team buffing. So, yeah, those two pretty quick discussions on them. Really, I don't think there's a need to draw that out. The ones that are interesting that I would love to talk about are the summer units. So I'm going to them. Summer Celliera and Summer Julietta. I'm going to make the decision of saying that Julietta is
a little
worse than Summer Celliera, but I'm going to put them actually above Lazry.
Yeah, me too.
So here's my thought on them, and we can kind of talk about them as a pair because they are the same role. They're just different weapons. Starting with their playstyle, they're your skill 1 boggers. I mean, no pun intended, but boggers, right? You're getting the bogs off. Like Summer Celliera, great kit, bog, skill shift on skill 2, having attack rate like a Marth already has great value, especially for like a Mitsuba or a Valerio, especially Valerio, right? Where he needs that attack rate. I mean, that's a huge bonus to him. They work well together, and I almost always want to see one of them in my lobby. Like, if I can help it, I would prefer to have a Summer Celliera. I would fish for one, because the bog is just so good. And if I don't have one, then I'm 100% using Summer Celliera's bog skill on my unit. Just because of how much bog can be afflicted and applied, and how valuable that bog is in the twins fight in particular.
Yeah, the thing is, like, even outside the twins, I don't think her shared skill is that bad. Like, you can just save for break, and that's it. Like,
yeah. Certain units can use it, right? Like, I mean, like you have the potential for Crom to use it, or for a support or a healer to use it.
Yeah. Maybe even Catherine.
Yeah, maybe even Catherine. I mean, I could totally see it as well. I mean, like I said before, all the units, right, that they can run it. The only other thing that would worry me with Catherine is around the time I would be ready to use my skill 2, my energized and inspired stacks might be available.
Oh, that's true.
And so consuming it via bog might not necessarily be the greatest thing.
That is true. I didn't think about that.
It may or may not be better to run like a Durant or a UA for the crit or the strength, but I'm probably leaning more towards Durant, just going for that 40% strength nuke. But yeah, I mean, it shows potential. I mean, like the inherent style of having bog is there. Like, if I had Catherine built and I was playing her, being careful to eye my inspiration and energized stacks, I would probably actually still run bog, just because of the utility, depending on my team composition. That being said, the last thing that gives value to Summer's Celliera that kind of makes me feel like she pushes Julietta out of the way is that she's very her value in the defense buffs and the attack rate, as well as her backline and her shared skill, are just a little bit better.
And she's also burn res.
Yes, and burn res. So in short, it's the Dragon Haste, the Dragon Claws, that backline potential, amazing, especially when we're putting Xainfried up on S, and he's going to want that. So he either wants Eugene or Summer Celliera. The skill share is actually lower SP cost than Julietta, which means you can use it a lot more on shared skill. And it has the same affliction rate. I think it's both like 110 or 120. Either way, it's the same rate. So when you're using the skill as a shared skill primarily to inflict bog, having a lower SP cost is more valuable, in my opinion, than having a slightly higher mod for a higher cost.
The thing is too, like, on the DPS sim, I don't know if that's practical, but a lot of the water units are running Gala Ellie or Peria or any buff as a skill.
Right.
And Summer Sally has buff time.
Oh, that's true too. I mean, that's good value in there, in her kit. That is good value. Now, the one thing that we can look back over at Julietta is, once again, we said Julietta's got the bog shared skill, which, it's still good. I mean, if you didn't have Summer Celliera, you could still do Summer Julietta's bog skill as a potential. Summer Julietta is one of those characters that was extremely terrible, and then the twins came out and she just became amazing in the same way that Celliera was always kind of good, right? but with having multiple bog afflictions now, they're both better. Notably in Julietta's passives, one, stun res being viable now as the fight requires, doesn't necessarily require, but it welcomes stun res and flame res, so Julietta's stun res is less of a negative to her. Multiple bogs means she can do multiple team strength when she bogs. Before, that was a one-time thing in Master, which was pretty sad. But the problem is that if you have a character like Gelly on your team, so Gala Ellie, the strength buffs that you receive from Summer Julietta's bog is greatly diminished when you apply Gelly's strength buffs. So there are other characters in the meta that you will often see that won't be as appreciative of that bog team, user strength or whatever, or equals team strength passive. And then the other thing too is her skill 2 is proximity.
Yeah. Not only it's proximity, but like I also feel like even if it wasn't, Water has so many characters that like have good team buffs that if you run too many characters that most of the damage come from buffs, you're having diminished returns, because like, for example, Summer Sally has better personal DPS. That's why one of the main reasons I think she's better.
Right.
Because like for buff bots we have like Xainfried, we have Gala, Ellie, Eugene. So like there's just too many. So I do prefer having a more personal DPS for those characters, just so like they can do more damage and abuse those buffs.
Yeah, definitely.
I do prefer, however, running like a random character like Xainfried with Summer Sally skill than running one of them. But they are good. They are solid units, regardless. So
yeah, definitely. And then of course, the backline potential for Summer Julietta is okay. I mean, it's defense and then it's a little bit of strength.
Yeah.
So it's not the worst, but it's also not the best. It's a little lower than middle of the pack for that. And then their shared skills are solid. I think either way, I would not be disappointed to see Summer Julietta on my team.
Oh yeah,
and I would definitely be fishing for Summer Celliera. At least one Summer Celliera. Any more than that is also diminishing. Yeah. But yeah, that kind of covers the summer units. I guess we can kind of move on to we have 3 5-star units left.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about Gala Elisanne, so we might as well place her. I think definitively she's going to be S, and I'm going to put her between Xainfried and Eugene. I may move her past Xainfried, but at the moment, I'm not quite sure if it warrants it. I think at the moment, unless Eugene seems to take off in pubs based on the healer support role, I think the one thing that Ellie has over him is the higher resistances.
Yeah.
So like in a pre-made room, I think Eugene is better than Gala Elisanne, because you can trust your players, you can voice chat through. Chances are they're not going to take as much damage, right? And he can just heal through just like Gelly can. He's going to have better SP gen. And then better. You're just going to have better break damage too, which once again, the shorter the fight, the less chances for mistakes.
The buffs from Ellie are better.
Yes,
even more so because she can abuse from buff time.
Yes, definitely.
But I just feel like it's not so much better that the breaking damage from Eugene doesn't is not relevant anymore. So
additionally, the Elisanne's skill 2 gives her 3 stacks of energy, which means she really only needs to hit a 40 hit combo to get more energy from Sarisse. From Sarisse Chainco ability, right? And so that will impact her healing potential, which is good as well.
Eugene also makes it faster to break than Gala Ellie.
Right, because now we're looking at the weapon types versus the right? I mean, sword effectively is the best generic overdrive punisher weapon, right? I mean, for breaking overdrive. And then, you know, you have the problem with, I was gonna say lance, but I meant axe. Lance is great with SP. Axe is not.
Yeah.
So, you know, kind of one of the reasons why I'm looking at putting Ellie under Xainfried, and this is kind of like my comparative argument. I would like to see both of them on my team, but when I do see both of them, it feels like a majority of Elisanne's SP is either coming from her Worm Prince, like if you ran Castle Cheer Core, and then additionally, the other part of her SP then comes from Xainfried's continual dragon shifting with the buff zone.
Yeah.
I get a lot of skills
so much
through the buff zone. It's ridiculous. It's 10%. It's 10%.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's 10% per 0.9 seconds, not even 1 second. 0.9 for 10 seconds. So that's wild in and of itself. You know, you're getting off a ton of extra strength buffs along with Xainfried, you know, as well, and making sure that your heals are available to top off your teammates. So I think it's fair placement. Of course, having dual res and no knockback is amazing to play.
Yep.
It really makes your runs a lot cleaner because then you have less to rely about, you know, or worry about with yourself. Combo time is irrelevant on her at the moment, but it's just a nice backline to have for other characters if you don't have like a DY Cleo build.
Yeah.
Defense is just great for bulk, for her 15% from axe. And then she has a shared skill, and I would say it's great, but it's difficult to fight against free base Elisanne shared skill.
Yeah, it's like barely better, so.
Yeah, if you're max minning and you're really going out there and spending tomes and spending diamantium, then it's worth it. But for the average player, especially the one that's just looking to get a casual set of pubs, and probably most of the player base, Elisanne's skill, the base Elisanne, the lance user, right, is already good enough.
Yeah.
So
I do value Gala Ellie more than Ellie at the moment. Like everyone like keeps saying how Ellie is better than Gally now because of the Tobias and Skillshare and everything, and how like I see a lot of people saying that Gally is not as good as regular Ellie, but I disagree because like one, Ellie doesn't have full burn res,
right?
Not even like she doesn't have neither of the resistances. So that's like, of course you can run Affliction Guard, but that's a waste of Wormprint slot.
Right, then you're using Indelible Summer, yeah.
Yeah, the only reason, like, one of the main reasons Ellie is higher than Gally on the sim is one, she's not running, like, she's running 2 skill haste / combo buff time Wormprints. She's not running affliction resistance prints. So
yeah,
realistically,
she's not running realistic prints.
Yeah, and like it's considerably higher because like she has buff time, she has better SP gain. So yeah, it's considerably higher. And she can also run Gala Ellie's skill, so like it's double.
Right.
But
right.
I honestly think like the consistency that Gala Ellie brings to the table is more valuable than the extra damage that regular Ellie can bring. So yeah,
definitely. I think if I were to mark them, because this is inherently, the tier list is a public room tier list. If I was looking at this, it's the same argument as Eugene versus Gala Elisanne, where the damage that you can give is of value in a private room. So a room with your friends, right, where you're all in comms and you're all playing together, the damage given and contributing to ending the fight is great. I mean, it's there. And so with that being said, I would probably just put Elisanne right below Eugene. Essentially, if I could, I would probably just have them share their slot. Because like the thing is they have a similar role in terms of our pub situation, you have Gala Elisanne with the most amount of defenses and strength bonus, right? She kind of has it all, and she's got the dual res. Then you have a situation where you have a little bit of res and a lot of bit of strength, right, from the buff zones. So you have a little bit of defensive capability with consistency, and then you also have the good break damage. And now you have a character than Elisanne, which can probably do more strength than Eugene, but you're suffering on the back end of having to patch up the resistance holes. And now you know you're not worrying about one affliction, you have two. So getting stunned and burned sounds very sad.
Yeah.
I mean, highly unlikely, but the potential is there for both, which means if you ever got to that unavoidable section with Ellie, you're in a tough spot. You could run a burn cleanse heal on her to kind of like mitigate that, and you also have the ability to run the indelible summer, right? But of course, both of those situations either require purchasing of tomes or going out of your way to get the character. I think we'll be in a position to see how she'll change with the spiral, and I'm really hoping that this month in Dragalia Lost for July 1st will announce her spiral.
Yeah, same.
I'm really hoping that's when Yuji Okada decides to do it, because that would be a great time to do so, considering we haven't gotten any spirals. I really would just like to see like 4 water spirals, you know, Lily, Xander, Elisanne, and then like you can give us a meme healer, you know, fine, give us Ricard, you know, give us a 3-star healer spiral, you know.
Xander.
Well, yeah, of course, Xander, yeah. Xander, Lily, Elisanne, and then like Ricard, you know, so you have 1, 3, 1, 4, and then like 2 5-stars. Either that, or they're going to be like, hey, Christmas in July, and then and then Dragon Yule Cleo's going to get a spiral out of nowhere.
Valentine's again.
You know, yeah, Valentine's again, right? And then do that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think there's not much to be said then more with Ellie. She has like a similar position as Eugene, and she's already just a solid choice.
Yep.
You know, actually, I might even say like, you know what I'm gonna do for now, because she's not spiraled and because she doesn't have the resistance capabilities.
Yeah, I put her in E+.
Yeah, I'm gonna put her under,
right behind
Valerio. Yeah. I think this makes sense to me. You know, Gala Ellie as a pub room is just definitively better. And obviously, if this was a private room, the lobby would, or the tier list would just look a lot different. But this is how it will be for Publix. Like if I'm fishing for a lance and I see regular Ellie pop up, but I'm also fishing for an axe, and then Gala Ellie pops up, I'm like, what's going on? You know, like who am I taking, right? I would much rather have Gala Ellie every time.
Same.
And I'd rather have my lance be Xainfried. You know, I'm covering all my bases that way. So. Especially when with pubs, since we don't have, and this is kind of a tangent, but it kind of feeds into it, we don't have a way to filter beyond weapon type, so you can't filter a specific character. You can only filter based on might, and the problem that you'll see is like, and this kind of works specifically for Ellie, since Ellie as a 4-star welfare, right, has lower base might in general just because of the way her passives are.
Yeah.
You can actually might gate her out if you go for a high lance, and that wouldn't necessarily gate out Fjorm, but you're gonna gate out. But the problem, or Xainfried, which is awesome. But the problem is now you're gating out Catherine.
Yeah.
Who would still be solid and viable, right? So it's kind of the conundrum to be in. Definitely just, I'm not gonna say Elisanne is in need of a spiral, because she's really not. But it would be nice.
Like, she's so good, she doesn't need a spiral, but like, even though she's like in theory better than like everyone, like when you use her and like you don't have the resistances, I do think that hurts her a lot. I really do.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the 25% flame res goes a long way when you're playing Gala, and then additionally, no stun, like minimal stun res, and then like half burn res is painful, especially with these Agitos, because the Agito and the High Dragons, if you're not at 100, you could be at 99. they
Yeah.
will always hit you with the affliction.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's tough. That being
She's
said,
solid though.
yeah, she's solid. I mean, her co-abilities are nothing to scoff at. I mean, HP and a little bit of strength is okay. I mean, it's universal, which is nice. And then her shared skill is like probably one of the best shared skills in the game, rivaling Ransel.
Yeah, and it's free.
Yeah, and it's free. I mean, look at that. You know, free players rejoice. Like Ransel, Ellie, that's all you need.
I do like that a lot of like all of the shared skills, like the free shared skills, are solid. None of
Yes.
them are bad.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
nice.
And so I'm
Maybe Lazry
expecting
is good.
hers to get even better. Probably some kind of water requirement, if I had to guess. You know, keep the strength the same, but maybe like water gets like 8% crit. You know.
Or maybe just like Paria, just like give her a
Yeah.
15%
But for
defense.
only water, yeah.
Yeah.
See, I was theorizing crit because if they gave her 8% crit on her weapon, and then Side Games was like, oh, everyone's gonna run 6-star weapons, that would allow the 12% crit to go to 20 for all the characters.
I would rather have crit damage though in this case.
That's true, because then the crit rate, right, is gonna eventually get to a point where overstacking it is diminishing returns.
Not only that, but like inspiration being so common on
This is
water
true.
builds. Yeah.
That would be, yeah. Even if they did like 10%, I mean, because the thing is she can stack already 5, so if you're thinking about it, right, and Ellie is going in and she has 5 stacks, even 10% crit damage on a skill 1 would give you 50% to the team.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild, actually. That would actually make like Hunter Sarisse, for example, much more potent as well.